Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradhari Jai Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradhari Jai Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Asatasara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Asatasara Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namachara Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Hasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radharadhanath ki jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhani ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gau Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, dear devotees, today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, text, chapter 20, text 17. Matraya uvacha sa itam loka guruna vivakshena vishvaschit anusasita ahesham sirasa jagre hare Matreya vacha sa itam lokha guruna vivakshen nena vishvajet anusasita ed adhesham sirasa jagre hare. Matreya vacha sa itam loka guruna vivaksasen nena vishvajit anusasita adhesham sirase jagre hare. Can we repeat? Matreya vacha sa itam loka guruna vivakshanena vishvajit anusasita adhesham sirasa jagre hare. We'll do the word for word. Matreya uvacha. Matreya said, Sa he itam this loka guruna by the Supreme Master of all people vivakshenena by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishvajit, the conqueror of the world, Maharaj Prithu, Anusasita, being ordered, Adhesham, instructions, Sirasa, on the head, Jagre, accepted, Harer, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The great saint Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, in this way Maharaj Prithu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his head. Purport: one should accept the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by bowing down at the lotus feet of the Lord. This means things spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be taken as it is, with great care and attention, and with great respect. It is not our business to amend the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or make additions and alterations as it has become a custom for many so-called scholars and swamis who comment on the words of Bhagavad Gita. Here the practical example of how to accept the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is shown by Prithu Maharaj. This is the way to receive knowledge through the parampara system. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Tadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brinavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, we'll try to say something on this purport. If we look, Srila Prabhupada has presented the scriptures as it is. It is described in this verse that one should accept the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one's life and soul, basically, and as it is, and one should not concoct or alterate the instructions of the Supreme Lord. And we see here, following in Srila Prabhupada's example, how he nicely translated these books for us and presented Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in its pure way. So we'll just read from the introduction of Bhagavad Gita what Srila Prabhupada says about translating the Bhagavad Gita. So he says, Bhagavad Gita is known as Gita Upanishad in a sense of Vedic knowledge, and one of the most important Upanishads in the Vedic literatures. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity of another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend the English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English. But as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative, because also in India, because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinion without touching the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we see here that Prabhupada says there's so many editions of the Bhagavad Gita and translations of it in English, but none of them has actually touched on the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita, because the commentators gave their own opinion, and Prabhupada says, what is the result of our own opinion? What is the use of our own opinion? Because we are made of the 4 defects, right? And these 4 defects cannot actually give us pure knowledge, right? And in this way, we find that what are the 4 defects that the human being has? Anyone? Imperfect senses, propensity to cheat. One is under illusion. He's sure to commit mistakes, right? So in this way, because we have these 4 defects, we cannot commentate on higher spiritual subjects. So here Prabhupada is making this point that, what is the use of our commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, right? In the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like if we take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the instructions written on the label. We cannot take medicine according to our own whims or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the direction on the label or the direction given by the physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. So here Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy of taking medicine. One has to take medicine according to the label or prescribed by a physician. We cannot take medicine according to our own whims, otherwise it would not act, right? If on the label it is may say that take one tablet 3 times a day, and if we take one tablet 1 times a day, then it's not going to have the same effect. We have to follow the label. So here also, Bhagavad Gita should be taken as it is, and not given by people who do not know how to actually present Bhagavad Gita. So we cannot. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita should not be taken or accepted as directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Shri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of the Bhagavad Gita as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavan. Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod, and certainly here Bhagavan designates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, as a great personality. But at the same time, we should know that Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in by all great acharyas, spiritual masters like Sankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself also establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, and is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita and all the Puranas, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Bhagavat Purana, Krishna's Tu Bhagavan Swayam. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the fourth canto of the Gita, the Lord says, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vishshavan Manava Praha Manur Ishvakarve Bravit Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Raja Sayavidu Sakahlena Mahata Yoga Nasa Parantapa Sa eva maya tedya yoga prokta purutanaha bhokta si me shakti cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Here the Lord informs Arjuna that this system of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, was first spoken to the sun god, and the sun god explained it to Manu, and Manu explained it to Ishvaku, and in that way, by disciplic succession, one speaker after another, the yoga system has been coming down. By the course of time, it has become lost. Consequently, the Lord had to speak it again, this time to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining how the Bhagavad Gita has been lost in time, and it had to be spoken again by Krishna to Arjuna. And in the Bhagavad Gita itself, there is a list of the parampara coming down from Krishna right up to Srila Prabhupada, and how this knowledge has not been distorted but is presented in its pure form. So here in the Lord informs Arjuna, that Shri Radharadhanath ki jai, Man Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He tells Arjuna that he is relating the supreme secret to him because Arjuna is his devotee and his friend. The purport of this is that Bhagavad Gita is a treatise which is especially meant for the devotee of the Lord. There are 3 classes of transcendentalists, namely the Jnani, the Yogi, and the Bhakta, or the impersonalist, the meditator, and the devotee. Here, the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that he is making him the first receiver of a new parampara, disciplic succession, because the old succession was broken. So, yes, so we need to follow in the line of the Guru parampara, coming down from Krishna himself to spiritual master to disciple, spiritual master to disciple. And here we see that Srila Prabhupada, following the instructions of his guru, he translated the Bhagavad Gita in the English-speaking language, because this was the first instruction he received from his spiritual master to preach in the English language. And we find that Srila Prabhupada has translated all these scriptures into English, and now it has been translated into so many languages, and therefore the devotees or people in general are receiving this knowledge, and the Bhagavad Gita is creating so many devotees of Krishna around the world. And Prabhupada also mentions that none of these other Bhagavad Gitas have actually made any devotees, right? Or if they did, they would have been like, won't be following the four regulative principles, chanting Hare Krishna, on beads, japa 16 rounds a day. They would have just been like, on a superficial level, being a devotee of Krishna. But here, Prabhupada, in his purports, basically, he describes how to be a devotee. And in many of his purports, he quotes the Mahamantra. And, if one, reads the Bhagavad Gita, even without the help of another devotee, he can assimilate this knowledge and he can actually put it into practice. There are many instances of this happening where people have never met devotees. Just by reading Bhagavad Gita, they have become devotees and they started to practice Krishna consciousness on their own. And my spiritual master, he gives an incident of how, a person bought Bhagavad Gita and he started practicing Krishna consciousness by chanting daily 16 rounds, made his own beads, and he started chanting 16 rounds every day. And this is so powerful, because when one chants, then all the anarthas in the heart starts to flee, right? And his heart becomes pure. So in this way, he started chanting, and eventually, when he met the devotees on the Polish tour, then he spoke to Guru Maharaj, and he explained how he has been chanting for so many years, and without devotee association. And in this way, now that he has come to the Polish tour, he will buy more books and he will read and he will strengthen his faith like this. So we see that many people like this have actually, just by reading the Bhagavad Gita, have transformed their lives, from sinners to saints. And this actually applies to all of us as well, from sinners to saints. So are we trying to be saintly? We are not saints as yet, but we are trying to be saintly by the process of devotional service. So, but on the other hand, to offend the guru, is very detrimental to our spiritual life. And there are many instances like this in scripture, wherein different personalities who have offended the guru, and they basically have lost everything. So we get one incident in the Bhagavatam where Indra, famous personality, always offending, right? Somehow or the other, his name always comes up, and he was basically sitting with his wife, Archie, on a nice raised platform, and he was being glorified by the demigods, like the Siddhas and the Chanaras, like this. He was being glorified, and then his spiritual master walks in, Brihaspati, and he failed to acknowledge his guru. And Brihaspati recognizes, that there is pride in Indra, and he should do something about it. So he disappeared from there, and Indra saw him, right? And then, but he failed to offer his respects, like get up and offer his pranams to his guru. So after a while, he saw that his spiritual master wasn't there. So then he realized that he had committed an offense, and by this offense, basically, the demigods, they lost all their power. They lost all their power, and the demons were able to defeat them. So there's always a struggle between the demons and the demigods. And we see there's another incident, where Bali Maharaj, whilst they were fighting between the demons and the demigods, this is in the 8th canto, then he basically died. And his spiritual master, Sukracharya, revived him. And thereafter he was able to give his spiritual master so much of praise and worshipped him, according to Vedic standards. He worshipped his spiritual master, and his spiritual master was very pleased with this. And when his spiritual master was pleased, then he was allotted so much of opulence, in order to fight. He was offered a nice bow. He was offered various things, right? And also Prahlad Maharaj, his great-grandfather, offered him a nice garland. So in this way, he went to fight the demigods. And when the demigods saw this, they said, hey, we are in trouble here, because Bali Maharaj, he's so powerful. What are we going to do? So they went up to Brihaspati and they asked the spiritual master, what shall we do? Bali Maharaj is so powerful now. And Bali Maharaj became so powerful because he worshipped his guru, Sukracharya. And in this way, Brihaspati said, you cannot basically win this war. What I propose is you go and hide, So all the demigods, they went and hid behind the clouds. And in this way, Bali Maharaj, he basically he invaded the heavenly planets. And then Brihaspati told him, now you need to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and request for his blessings upon you and his benediction so that you can win the war. So then that's when they prayed to the Lord, and the Lord said, okay, I will appear as Vamanadev, and in this way, I will help you. So then that's what happened. But eventually we see that Bali Maharaj, when Sukracharya, when Vamanadev asked for 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaj was, he said, well, so be it, I will give you the 3 steps of land. And Sukracharya, being his spiritual master, said, please do not give the 3 steps of land, because he recognized Vamanadev to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he told him, do not give this 3 steps of land. And Bali Maharaj, he weighed the situation, and he thought, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's asking, and he in the form of a brahmachari, and he's asking 3 steps of land, I should give. So in this way, he was weighing the situation, and he said, okay, so be it, you can have the 3 steps of land. And thereby we see that the Lord, expanded himself, and he basically took everything away from Bali Maharaj. But we see in this incident that in this instance, Sukracharya, he did not follow the instructions of his guru, and he lost everything, right? But on the other hand, he was obeying the instructions of the Lord. He said, so what if, this little boy be the Supreme Lord? It is all glorious if he takes everything away, because, and he thought that nothing belongs to me anyway. So in this way, Bali Maharaj surrendered, and therefore he is recognized as a Mahajan, a very great devotee, and we should follow in his footsteps, right? By surrendering everything that we have to the Supreme Lord. So, you may say, well, I do not have much, I joined the temple and I didn't bring anything with me. I do not have anything. But we can sacrifice our ego, our pride, and all these things that we have within our hearts. We can sacrifice those things for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and, tell Krishna, please take all these things away from me and endow me with good spiritual qualities like this. So we can do like this. So offending the Supreme Lord and offending the spiritual master is very detrimental to our spiritual lives. And we find that in many instances, some devotees have offended the Lord and who have offended the spiritual master, and their lives are not glorious. If you look at them now, you'll find that they are basically material nature has taken over, and they have become non-devotees. So in this way we find that causing aparad is so detrimental to our spiritual lives, and we should try to avoid it in all circumstances. And if we see another devotee who has basically who's not following the regulative principles and who have actually had a slight fall down, we should not think, oh, how could this happen? We should just pray for the devotee, because if we think, how did this devotee do this, then Krishna will put us in a similar situation for us to experience it, how the devotee did this. So, talking from realization. So in this way, we should not think how, why, when, this, that, we should just accept it. This is the arrangement of the Lord, and we should pray for that devotee. Yes, my dear Lord, this devotee is going through a hard time. I pray for him that he comes out of it, or she comes out of it and continues serving you with body, mind, and words like this. So we should pray for that devotee. And, if we somehow fail to do this, then Krishna will put us through the very same test in order to purify our hearts, because we are thinking bad about this devotee, and we are basically, it's an aparad also, we are causing an aparad like this. So therefore we should be very, very careful, because on the spiritual path it's also ridden with thorns, right? So we should be very, very careful how we tread on the spiritual path. So, dear devotees, with this, I'd like to end here, because we still have some time. Maybe I can read some part of the purport as well. I'll try to finish this. The introduction is very long, but we'll just try to read a little bit more of what Prabhupada is saying. So, so Prabhupada is stating here that we should follow the parampara system, the disciplic succession, and he wanted Arjuna to become the authority in understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So we see the Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjuna, especially because Arjuna was a devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna, and his intimate friend. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has qualities similar to Arjuna. That is to say that he must be a devotee in direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as he becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. That is a very elaborate subject matter, but briefly it can be stated that a devotee is in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of the 5 different ways, right? One may be a devotee in a passive state. One may be a devotee in an active state. One may be a devotee as a friend. One may be a devotee as a parent. One may be a devotee as a conjugal lover. Arjuna was in a relationship with the Lord as a friend. Of course, there is a gulf of difference between the friendship between this friendship and the friendship found in the material world. This is a transcendental friendship, which cannot be had by everyone. Of course, everyone has a particular relationship with the Lord, and that relationship is invoked by the perfection of devotional service. But in the present state of our lives, not only have we forgotten the Supreme Lord, but we have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. That is called Swarupa. By this process of devotional service, one can revive that Swarup, and that stage is called Swarup Siddhi, perfection of one's constitutional position. So Arjuna was a devotee, and he was in touch with the Lord in friendship. So here Prabhupada is talking about the 5 different rasas that we can have with the Supreme Lord. In a passive state, in an active state, has a friend, a parent, a conjugal lover. So, by engaging in devotional service, we are trying to purify our lives and attain to this. All of us have one of these relationships already with us. We already have a relationship with the Lord in either of these 5 different types of ways. But by now that we have this material body, we have lost contact with the Lord. So by the process of devotional service, we are able to again revive that lost love that we have for Krishna within our hearts. So, love of God is nothing new to us. It's there within the heart. It's just that now we are covered over, and in this way, by the practice of devotional service, by chanting Hare Krishna, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and following the 9 processes of devotional service, then we're able to revive that lost relationship with Krishna. So Arjuna was in relationship with the Lord as a friend. Of course, there is a gulf of difference between the friendship, this friendship, and the friendship in the material world. So I read all that. How Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita should be noted. His manner and acceptance is given in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavatam. But I'm not going to quote those verses, it's quite long. I'll just read the translation. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas, confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality." So here Arjuna is accepting Krishna as the Supreme Lord, and accepting him as a spiritual master. He surrenders to Krishna in this instance, right? So after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Lord, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Para Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. Every living being is Brahman, but the Supreme Living Being, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is Supreme Brahman. Para Brahman means that he is the supreme rest or abode of everything. Pavitram means that he is pure, untainted by material contamination. Purusham means that he is the supreme enjoyer. Sasvatam, original. Divyam, transcendental. Adidevam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adidevam means he is the Supreme. Adideva means we normally refer to the demigods as Deva, right? So Krishna is Adideva. He's original. He's the origin of everyone. And then there's another term for Krishna as Deva Deva. Right? You heard this term? Deva Deva? So Deva Deva means he is the Lord of all lords, right? God of gods, like that. So, yeah, Vibhum, the greatest, Ajam, the unborn, right? So here the qualities of Krishna is being described by these verses. Now one may think that because Krishna was a friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by way of flattery, but Arjuna, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiates these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only by him, but by the authorities like Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vyasa. These are great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all acharyas. So here even the great acharyas, the great authorities of Bhagavad Gita, Ashita, Devala, Narada, all these personalities are confirming this truth about Krishna. And they are saying that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says this, and in various occasions he says this, that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also Srimad Bhagavatam claims this as well. So how am I doing for time? Okay. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken in a spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary person or even a very great personality. Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So according to the statements of Bhagavad Gita or statements of Arjuna, a person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we should at least theoretically accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nowadays there's so many movies coming out about Krishna's pastimes, right, on the internet, and it is called a mythology. But actually, it's not a mythology. For devotees understand that this is not a myth. It actually occurred, right? All these pastimes actually occurred, and all these pastime places are there in India. Now when you go on pilgrimage, we can actually access these places, and we can go to these places and understand what happened in a certain particular place. So like this, in Vrindavan, in Kurukshetra, in Jagannath Puri, like this all around in India, there are places of pilgrimage that we can understand that these Krishna was here, he was present, and he actually did like this. So it's actually not a myth, but it's actually historical places, right? So these Mahabharat means the great historic history of India, right? So we can so devotees who have faith that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he displayed all these pastimes in these various places. So therefore we go on pilgrimage and we try to understand what Krishna did at a particular place, in a particular area like this. And but others take this to be a myth. So if they take Krishna's pastimes here to be a myth, then obviously Bhagavad Gita won't resonate in their hearts, right? They may read Bhagavad Gita, but it won't have an effect on their hearts, because they take Krishna as a mythological figure. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. If you'd like to contribute to this class, you're most welcome to do so. Hare Krishna. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.